All right, ready to dive into something we all deal with every single day.
Always up for a challenge. What are we tackling today?
Hydration. You know, that whole 8 glasses of water a day thing. We're going to unpack that. And trust me, it's a lot more interesting than it might seem.
Oh, I can already tell this is going to be good. I mean, we all know we need water, but there's so much more to it than that.
Exactly. And staying properly hydrated can impact everything from your brain power to your heart, even digestion and joint pain.
No kidding. It's amazing how much of an impact proper hydration has on our overall health.
Absolutely. To get a well-rounded view, we've got some great sources to guide us today. We'll be looking at familydoctor.org, some insights from Harvard's T.H. Chan School of Public Health, and the National Council on Aging.
So we're covering this from multiple angles: medical, nutritional, and even the unique needs of older adults.
Exactly. All right, let's tackle this 8 glasses a day rule head on. Familydoctor.org says it's a good starting point, but they also emphasize that it's not a hard and fast rule.
Right, more like a general guideline. Individual needs vary so much. I mean, someone running a marathon in the heat will need way more fluids than someone working at a desk in an air-conditioned office.
For sure. And it's not just about the climate either. FamilyDoctor.org points out that certain medical conditions and medications, especially diuretics, play a role in how much water we need.
Oh yeah, diuretics are a big one. Those are medications that help your body get rid of excess fluid. They're often prescribed for things like high blood pressure or heart failure.
So they make you go to the bathroom more.
Right, and because they increase urination, they also increase the risk of dehydration if you're not careful about replenishing fluids.
It's almost like they throw off the body's natural fluid balance.
Exactly. That's why it's crucial to talk to your doctor about your individual hydration needs, especially if you're on any medications.
Good point. So the 8 glass rule might be a decent place to start, but it's really all about those individual factors.
Definitely. And while we're talking about individual needs, the Harvard expert we're looking at highlights the impact of sugary drinks.
Ah, yeah. I was wondering when we'd get to that. I'm guessing they're talking about more than just soda, right?
Right. They're also talking about those drinks marketed as healthy. Even those can work against you when it comes to hydration.
It's interesting how many people assume all drinks hydrate you equally. But I guess the type of drink really matters.
It makes a big difference. Now, shifting gears a bit, why is hydration so important beyond just quenching thirst?
Well, the National Council on Aging, or NCOA, points out that even mild dehydration can lead to some unexpected consequences.
Yeah, they highlight how dehydration can impact everything from weight management to joint health and even how your body regulates temperature.
Wait, really? Weight gain and joint pain from dehydration? Those aren't the first things that come to mind.
I know, right? But think about it. Cartilage, the tissue that cushions your joints, relies on water to function properly. If you're dehydrated, that cartilage can't do its job as well, and you might feel discomfort or pain.
So if you're feeling stiff and achy, inadequate hydration could be playing a role.
It's definitely possible. And then there's the weight gain connection. Sometimes when we're dehydrated, our brain actually misinterprets that signal as hunger instead of thirst.
So instead of grabbing a glass of water, we reach for a snack.
Exactly. And that can lead to unintended weight gain. The NCOA also points out that dehydration can affect older adults differently.
So there are physiological changes that happen as we age that increase the risk of dehydration. It's not just a matter of forgetting to drink water.
You got it. As we age, we naturally have a lower percentage of total body water. And on top of that, our thirst mechanism can become less sensitive.
So we might not even feel thirsty when we're actually dehydrated. That's kind of scary.
It can be, especially considering the potential consequences, and it really highlights how staying hydrated is more than just remembering to drink water throughout the day.
It seems like it's also about understanding those individual needs and recognizing those early signs of dehydration.
Exactly. And speaking of signs, familydoctor.org gives us a few red flags to watch out for.
Things like dark urine, dry mouth, feeling tired, headaches.
All of those, even dizziness. These are all ways your body's trying to tell you, hey, I need more fluids.
Okay, so if you're starting to notice those signs, what's the best way to course correct? Chug a gallon of water.
Well, drinking more water is usually a good idea, but maybe not all at once. The NCOA actually suggests a more gradual approach. They recommend drinking a good amount of water first thing in the morning.
Really? Why is that? I've always heard it's better to spread your water intake throughout the day.
It's about rehydrating after a night of sleep. You're basically giving your body a head start for the day. The NCOA has also found that for older adults, starting the day well hydrated can help with things like cognitive function and energy levels.
I can see how that would make sense. So front-loading with water in the morning and then spacing it out throughout the rest of the day is a smarter strategy.
Absolutely. And for those of us who find plain water a bit, well, boring.
We could always spice things up with infused water, right? Like you mentioned before.
Exactly. Infused water is a fantastic way to add flavor without adding extra calories or sugar. You can throw in things like cucumber slices, berries, a squeeze of lemon. Herbal teas are another great option, especially if you want something warm and soothing.
Those are great tips. Easy to add to your routine, too.
And don't forget about hydrating foods. Watermelon, cucumbers, leafy greens, they all contribute to your overall fluid intake.
Oh, that's right. It's not just about what we drink.
Oh.
All right, so we've debunked that 8 glasses myth and explored why hydration is so crucial. But how do we put this into practice? What are some practical strategies for staying hydrated?
Well, the NCOA has a really helpful formula for figuring out roughly how much water you need each day. They recommend aiming for 13 of your body weight in ounces.
So if you weigh 150 pounds, you'd aim for about 50 ounces of water daily.
Exactly. It's a great starting point. And here's another tip from the NCOA that's so simple but effective. Carry a reusable water bottle with you.
I have to admit, that one's been a game changer for me. If I don't have water readily available, I just forget to drink it.
Out of sight, out of mind, right? But if you've got that water bottle right there with you,
You're way more likely to take sips throughout the day.
it helps build those healthy habits without even thinking about it.
I love that. Speaking of healthy habits, we can't wrap up this deep dive without talking about electrolytes.
Ah, yes. Electrolytes are essential minerals, and they play a critical role in maintaining that all-important fluid balance we've been discussing.
So it's not just about the amount of water we drink, but also making sure we're replenishing those electrolytes.
Precisely. And this is where things get interesting. When we sweat, we lose both water and electrolytes, particularly sodium and potassium.
Makes sense. So when should we worry about replenishing electrolytes? Is this just an athlete thing?
It's especially important for athletes, especially endurance athletes.
Yeah.
They're losing electrolytes at a faster rate. But it's not just athletes. Anyone who's sweating a lot, like working out outdoors in the heat or doing a tough workout, could benefit from replenishing those electrolytes.
And what about those situations familydoctor.org mentioned, like vomiting or diarrhea? They can lead to pretty rapid fluid loss.
Absolutely. In those cases, it's crucial to replenish both fluids and electrolytes because you're losing them quickly.
That's where those oral rehydration solutions come in, right?
Exactly. They're specially designed to help your body absorb fluids more effectively and restore that balance.
So they're much more effective than just drinking plain water in those situations.
Yeah.
So it sounds like electrolytes are something we should all be aware of, even if we're not marathon runners or dealing with a stomach bug.
They're a key part of overall health and well-being. And it brings up an important question. Are you getting enough electrolytes in your diet?
That's a good question. I'll admit I haven't given much thought to my electrolyte intake. What are some good sources?
Electrolytes are naturally found in a lot of foods. Fruits and vegetables, dairy products, and even water.
Wait, hold on. Didn't we just talk about how plain water might not be enough to replenish lost electrolytes?
You're right. While most tap water and bottled water do have small amounts of electrolytes, it might not be enough, especially if you're sweating heavily or dealing with an illness.
So how do we know if we're getting the right balance? Are there any signs of an imbalance we should be on the lookout for?
That's where things get a bit tricky. Some common signs of an electrolyte imbalance can include things like muscle cramps, fatigue, weakness, headaches, even confusion. But keep in mind, those symptoms could also be caused by other things, so if you're experiencing any of those, it's always a good idea to check with your doctor.
That's good advice. And speaking of talking to doctors, familydoctor.org actually has a helpful list of questions we can ask our healthcare providers about hydration.
Oh, like what?
Things like, what if I can't drink as much fluid as you recommend?
Yeah.
Or, are any of my medications contributing to dehydration?
Those are great questions. It really highlights the importance of those open conversations with your doctor to make sure your hydration strategy is tailored to your individual needs.
Definitely. Okay, so we've debunked that persistent 8 glasses myth, explored why hydration is so crucial, and even touched on electrolytes. What's the one thing you hope our listener takes away from this conversation?
That's a good one. I think the most important takeaway is to shift our mindset from simply drinking enough water to really understanding how vital hydration is for our overall well-being.
I like that. It's about empowering ourselves with knowledge, paying attention to our bodies, and seeking personalized guidance when we need it.
Exactly. And remember, hydration is an ongoing thing. It's about making those small, positive changes consistently.
Beautifully said. Now, before we officially wrap up, any final thoughts to leave our listeners pondering?
Let me see. We've covered water, we've touched on electrolytes, but what about dot minerals? How do minerals fit into the picture of hydration, and how do they interact with electrolytes? That's something worth exploring.
Ooh, I like that. A little food for thought to spark some curiosity. So, listeners, if you're feeling adventurous, consider that your homework assignment. Dive into the fascinating world of minerals and hydration.
I have a feeling it'll be a journey worth taking.
And if you uncover any interesting insights, we'd love to hear about them. We're always learning from our amazing listeners. For now, we're going to wrap things up. Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive. Until next time, stay curious, stay hydrated, and stay well.